Hey, what's up everyone? Carl Wolf here, and today is Visual Novel Day, so we are playing The Bunker Notes, where apparently a pandemic has broken out, and we, as one of the few survivors, have retreated to our bunker. So I'm curious. Let's check it out. And we have to be careful about trusting people, apparently. June 11th, 2033. Today I thought about visiting Dasha. In the end, I decided not to. Most likely, they've already found my bunker up there and are simply waiting for someone to come out. Hello, Red. Welcome in. Hello, hello. Or maybe there's no one left up there. Maybe the last people starved to death. And before that, they ate their own. Condition: stable. The notes say there have been no further memory lapses. Last memory, August 25th. 2032. I'm doing alright. Hope you're doing good today, Red. 6 months of memories are gone. It's a good thing I didn't do anything important during that time. I didn't lose anything. I never left the bunker. Never visited Dasha's grave. Read the same books. Ate the same food. I probably think about visiting Dasha every day. Oh. Why would I knock on my door from the inside? Continue looking through the porthole. Actually, knock on my door. We're like primitive people again, using our minds not to build a comfortable life, but simply to keep it and hold out as long as we can. Behind this door, maybe some trace of sane life still remains. Just because life, even full of suffering, is all we have and what we're still fighting for. Today, I again spent half the day by the bunker door, staring through the porthole. Sometimes I want someone to blow this metal barrier apart and force our way inside. I want something to happen. Someone to come in who won't kill me for my supplies. Just finished getting all my grocery cooking stream? Ooh. The supermarket is new, so I had no idea where anything was. Ah, fair. But also a fresh experience, right? Sometimes it can simply hang in the air, waiting for someone. Without waiting for symptoms, I did everything I could to keep the infection from becoming fatal. I succeeded only partially, and most of my brain seems to have remained intact. I managed to avoid memory lapses, paralysis, and respiratory failure. Almost. The fact that I have to keep this diary proves that I have memory problems. Paralysis affected only the lower part of my left leg, mostly the toes. And if the notes are right, the virus hasn't progressed for a whole year. It seems the immune system is still holding it back. Condition: stable. Last memory, August 25th, 2032. July 3rd, 2033. Why didn't Robinson Crusoe go mad after 28 years on a deserted island? Probably because the instinct to survive kept pushing him to look for food and face challenges, just to stay alive. I could probably go a little louder. Hopefully it'll be fine there. Oh wait, I didn't accidentally click past it going back into the game, did I? Okay, good. Just making sure. In short, he was always busy on his island. Well, I have nothing to do in a bunker with 2 rooms, a storeroom, a bathroom, and a toilet. I don't even need to get food or make a fire, which is a shame. I haven't seen a fire in a long time. And yet, the real reason Robinson Crusoe didn't go mad is that Defoe simply made him up. I've heard he was inspired by a real Scottish boatswain, who, after 5 years on an island, went feral instead of making peace with nature. What keeps me from going mad is my inability to remember anything after August 25th, 2032. Perhaps this was the last gift my sister left me after her death. Condition: stable. No memory lapses. July 14th, 2033. Anyone who spent years on a deserted island probably dreams of seeing another living person. In my world, meeting another living person can mean someone's death. Everyone's trying to survive on their own island of sorts. I kept telling Dasha this, but she couldn't stay inside, where it was safe. She kept going outside, not worrying about catching the virus. Even a mask doesn't give full protection, because it's still unclear how the virus spreads. I was right. I always feel trouble coming. I felt it when I was building the bunker. The world couldn't stay peaceful for long, because it's inhabited by people like us. Those who laughed at me when I was building the bunker are probably already dead, Dasha included. Condition: stable. Wait, so did she come back and die, or did she never come back? If she never, what if he's just locked down here being a crazy person? July 28th, 2033. This is not the first time I've been surprised by how quickly the canned food disappears from storage. Just like my days. What do you mean disappears? Do you have more then? Yesterday I was 46. Today I'm 47. Soon I'll see a helpless old man in the mirror, struggling to get dressed. Is today your birthday? Happy birthday? Sometimes I wonder why I still haven't ended it. Am I waiting for something or for someone? Most likely I just can't remember it long enough to truly want it. But I think about it every day. The same unchanging picture in front of my eyes. I pedal the exercise bike to charge the battery and give myself light. 2 empty rooms, a bathroom, and a storage room. Shelves and books, single canned meals, filtered water and air. Board games, backgammon, cards. It's a pity they can't be sold for a piece of juicy, fatty shillik, since these games are played by 2 people. At times, seeing dreams is more pleasant than waking up in this place. There's been no one and nothing here for more than a year now. If one day I really decide, I'll take out the pistol. Like in the theater. If there's a gun on the wall, it has to go off. Why should it lie idle? Apparently, I'm just waiting for the gun to fire. September 16th, 2033. Condition: weakness, dizziness. Getting out of bed is incredibly difficult. I have not made any entries for such a long time. Strange. At first, I thought the virus had finally overcome me and my immune system could no longer restrain it. But paralysis didn't follow, and my memory still seems intact. I still don't remember August 25th, 2032. It turned out to be a severe vitamin deficiency. I can barely pedal the exercise bike. Still, I do not want to sit in the dark. Though it would probably be better to lie down and rest. I am taking a vitamin complex. It should get easier soon. September 18th, 2033. I lie in the bed in complete darkness. Yesterday the battery ran out. There's no one but me to recharge it. I write entries and go to the bathroom using a flashlight. Weakness and dizziness do not go away. I'm constantly drowsy, especially in this darkness. I don't know how long I slept. Is it day or night now? I left myself a note that the battery is discharged and the vitamin deficiency is not going away. It's frightening to wake up without understanding why it's so dark and where this weakness comes from. Or maybe I did die in my bed after all, and I've already ended up in hell. What could be a more terrible torment for a human being than endless darkness, where you are alone and no one hears you? What could be more frightening than dying and having no one find your body? What could be more horrible than dying and no one ever finding out about it? and no one caring about your death. No one will rejoice. No one will grieve. That's the end point at which nothing in this world truly changes if you are gone. In the current situation, you understand best what it means to waste your breath when you speak into emptiness. And the emptiness is deaf and mute. Silence. My words dissolve in this place, and if I scream, no one will hear me. He's going mad. That does sound very lonely, though. Hey! September 20th, 2033. Let there be light. I charged the battery and life became a little brighter. Apparently, for things that seem not so bad, they first have to get worse. Sounds about right. You hit rock bottom and then there's nowhere to go but up. Which is not entirely true. Realistically, you can just flatline. You can just go forward, flat. At least you don't go down, though. Hello, Manmer. Welcome in. Hello, hello. And auto shoutout is working, thankfully. Yay. Thank you, Manmer. Thank you for the lurk. Good luck with your studies. Sometimes this actually works. Yesterday I spent the entire day pedaling. To be honest, after such a long rest, doing this is several times harder. Gotta build back up your strength. September 28th, 2033. Today I discovered a curious thing between the entries dated July 28th and September 16, 2033. In the diary, between the pages, I found small, barely noticeable scraps of paper that clearly belonged to this same notebook. The mark looks like what's left when a page is torn out of a notebook. Wait, so they did exist. Why would I do this? Did I urgently need paper for something? In that case, the trace of the torn out page would have been much more noticeable. But here there is a feeling as if someone deliberately tried to hide the fact that a page was removed. Could it be that I did not write this down? Or was it something so insignificant that there was no need to remember it at all? So I solved the problem in this way. And yet, I noticed it, and curiosity takes over. I hope I didn't hide anything from myself. Condition, stable. The vitamin deficiency seems to have passed. September 29th, 2033. I counted the number of sheets in the notebook. Everything checks out. On the back cover it says that the original number is 180 sheets. I counted only 172 sheets. Where did the 8 sheets of the diary go? So you said from July to September. So you're missing August. Well, you're just missing August. How much do you write per month? Such a number only pushes me towards the thought that something was indeed written there. But why was it necessary to get rid of it? I'm angry at myself and confused because I can't understand myself. By the end of the day, one insane thought came up. What if it was not me who tore out those pages? It's frightening to reread the recent entries. It is hard to describe what kind of aftertaste they leave. Maybe I am going mad from loneliness, and I simply want to believe that someone else lives here beside me. Now I check the diary for torn out pages every day. All day long I think about the same thing. When I eat, charge the battery, go to the bathroom, or lie down to sleep. Under what circumstances would I have torn out those pages? Only to hide something. Or if someone wanted to hide something from me. Did I say someone? It seems I'm delirious. I set a trap for myself. I'm in a bunker several meters underground behind a steel door. And there is no one here. Do not lose your mind. Lately, my entries have been very dark. I would even say suicidal in nature. Perhaps those 8 pages were saturated with thoughts about suicide and loneliness, and I should not reread them, so I protected myself from them. I think this is quite logical. October 1st, 2033. After reading this entry, keep your sanity. This will lead you into even greater confusion, and may even instill fear from not understanding what is happening. But everything can be explained. That is exactly what you should do today. I was going to wash the laundry, and when I removed the sheet from the mattress, I found something. The missing pages? Oh. By the color, it is clear that it did not belong to Dasha. There was a woman's hair in the sheet. How do you know it's a woman? What, because it's long? October 2nd, 2033. So someone was definitely in the bunker. The records I keep in the storeroom showed that over a month I consumed twice, almost 3 times as much food as usual. Apparently, I really was sharing my supplies with someone. Some of Dasha's clothes are also missing. It's impossible to enter the bunker without my knowledge and consent, which means that whoever entered inside was let in by me. I checked. The entrance to the bunker is intact, and there are no signs of damage or tampering. I searched the whole place for new evidence. I found nothing. I think this is obvious. That's exactly what I was writing about in those entries that were torn out of the diary. Apparently, someone else did get rid of them after all. But why? Someone was here with me, and I cannot remember who. I'm like a blind man, wandering through this place by touch. Someone sleeps in my bed, eats my food, uses me to survive, like a parasite. I'm still trying to decide if what he says is even real. What if he's like an experiment to test loneliness and whatnot, to test like being locked up all by yourself? But why would someone come and visit him for a bit? This someone tried to hide their presence here as much as possible. Let us reason logically. The hair suggests that it was most likely a woman. I would certainly have been afraid to let an adult man inside. I guess. What if it was a kid? You took pity on a kid. Why would the kid leave then? She slept in my bed, and I shared my supplies with her for a month. I examined the storeroom once again. Several times I took out my emergency reserves of pasta and canned meat. I would only touch those reserves for something serious. So we must have been getting along well. Perhaps there were not even 2 of us, but 3. Let us think about one more thing. The one who tore the entries out of the diary knew that the virus had partially overcome me. They knew about my memory problems, which do not allow me to remember something for longer than a day. And I kept this diary precisely so as to not miss anything important. And now it is exactly this diary that serves as my memory starting from August 25th, 2032. I told her everything. Maybe it was Dasha and she came back with hair dye. I mean, aren't you already searching the storeroom? Isn't that where your food is and everything? By the way, where's my pistol? Oh, search the living room. I searched the entire living room. Nothing. They took the pistol? Someone who's watching out for you? There's no pistol in the living room either. October 3rd, 2033. I searched everywhere. The pistol's nowhere to be found. Apparently I managed to tell her about it as well. I trusted her, and in the end I was left alone again. I don't think I was forced to do anything, because it would have been easier to simply kill me and take everything. So why did she not do that? So, what version do we have? Approximately in August of this year, someone knocked on my door. Through the porthole, I saw a woman asking for help. She was alone. Or she had a baby, or a child. I was afraid and suspected that she was merely bait for her friends who wanted to profit from my shelter. But I remembered that I had been living here alone for such a long time. Perhaps she was young and rather attractive, and did not seem dangerous. Her pleading eyes made me forget about the danger. I let her inside. She turned out not to be dangerous. I fed her and gave up my bed to her. I was simply happy that at least there was someone else here besides me. I could talk to someone. Something I had not done for a long time. She told me her tragic story of how she had survived out there before ending up with me. I was so glad to see a living person that I took out my emergency reserves for her meal. So we lived for about a month. But she had other plans. It would not have been difficult for her, while I was asleep, to take with her as much food as she could carry, take my pistol, and continue on her way. Then, to hide the traces of her stay and tear out the missing pages from my diary. Why? Perhaps it was so that she could come back here next time and earn my trust again. Couldn't she, well, I was gonna say, couldn't she just be like, I have to go see someone or do something, I have to find something, and leave and then come back and we know her and know she's safe? Why erase herself? I mean, I guess we could worry about her, if she didn't have the virus, we could worry about her catching it, and we wouldn't let her back in again. But I feel like that's even harder if she comes back where we have no memory of her. Not to mention, unless we described her super well in the diary and she has like some signifier, because she could come back and like we wouldn't recognize her even if she was like had some similarities with the what we wrote in our diary. Unless she was wearing something that no one would be able to know unless they just happened to kill her and pick it up and wear it. But they still have to match the other descriptors. Perhaps she'll return soon, and not alone. I could easily have brought disaster upon myself this way. Then, why did she not kill me? True, if she's gonna come back with others, like, she could have easily just shot you in your sleep and then this place would be safe to come back to. Perhaps she lacked the courage, and not all survivors have turned into murderers and marauders. At the end of this version, there remain many questions to which it's impossible to find answers. Today, another version came into my mind. A mad one, but still a real one, as it seems to me. What if I did leave the bunker, visited Dasha's grave, and found this woman's hair along the way? Brought it back to the bunker and stared at it for a long time. Thought about the person to whom it belonged. You said you would struggle to let someone in. What if you did go out, visited the grave, and then you ran into someone? And since they didn't attack you or kill you, and they hopefully didn't know that you had a bunker, and yet they were being nice to you, without knowing if you had supplies and whatnot, maybe then you thought they were safe, and then brought them back? That's a possibility, I guess. It cannot be ruled out that the hair belonged to a long-haired man as well. My loneliness could have pushed me to the point where I might as well have brought this person to live here, in the bunker. For that, it would have been enough to leave only evidence. The length of this hair and its location would surely have led to the thought that it was indeed a woman who had been here. The supplies would have been easy to eat by myself, since I only eat once a day. The pistol and the clothes? Buried them not far from the bunker. This is entirely real and feasible. Why would I do all of this? So you're saying you found a hair, you brought it back, you stared at it, and then you just kind of dropped it in your bed. Then you went and decided to eat some good meals of your reserves. The good stuff. And then for some reason you took the pistol and some of her clothes and you went and buried them. Outside. Just 'cause. I mean, the pistol I can understand because, like, maybe you decide, you know what? I don't want to end myself if I ever get to that point. So I'm going to get rid of the pistol so that I can keep trudging through and keep surviving to the very end. Although, if you're actually all alone, eventually you'll get to old age and it will be rough. So I almost kind of support the pistol. Because I feel like I would do the same if I got to the point where I need a caretaker. And it's like, well, at that point, yeah. But the clothes, her clothes, why her clothes? Why would I do all, and not all of her clothes, just some of it. Why would I do all this? To distract myself, even if only slightly, from everything I have to face every day. Silence and emptiness. To occupy my mind with some kind of riddle or adventure. To postpone the inevitable. Maybe. One of the best ways not to put a bullet in my own temple is to get rid of the pistol. Right, that's what I said. And that's exactly what I did. How pathetic I am. I'm like the Ouroboros, a snake devouring itself. What else will I do in order to try to survive? October 5th, 2033. Today, I once again stood by the entrance and looked through the porthole. I was waiting for that woman who took my supplies and my pistol with her. I was waiting because she could have disproved the version that I invented all of this, and did it myself. The thought that I may not have been alone for a while warms me. I did all this myself, there was no one here except me. I want to believe that someone was here after all, other than me. So either we believe that we messed with ourselves for some reason, or that someone was here. Well, he is lonely, so I want to believe that someone was here after all, other than me. The end. October 12, 2033. I woke up and saw that my left arm was bandaged. Blood was seeping from my wrist up to the back of my elbow. The bunker was in disarray. I had not shaved for a long time. The battery had not been charged for several days, and the flashlight batteries were dead. On the floor, I found a knife. My blood dried on the blade. Apparently, I was really very close to it. With enough determination, I would not even need a pistol. Did I just hear knocking? What should I do next? Okay, I did. October 14th, 2033. I heard someone knocking on the door. Why did the knocking come so early? Well, it was still like talking about something else. I thought I was losing my mind. When I approached the door to check this, I saw a girl's face in the porthole. She looked about 12. She was wearing Dasha's jacket. You know, there was an instance where I was like, what if it was our child with us and Dasha? Because, well, we've only been here for a year. For over a year now, I think. Or, well, it's currently, so over a year. We've been in here for over a year, at least. I mean, we can't remember anything past August, so maybe even longer. But I was wondering, what if it was our daughter or something? And Dasha's, like, out there living life? I wonder if we're living a double life. Sometimes when we have our episodes, we come here and wake up and just live by what's said in the diary. And then sometimes we leave and... I don't know. Black hair. She said nothing. Just stood there staring. She was not afraid of me at all. Oh, the pages. Her face held a firm certainty that I would let... Oh! They might tear out the pages so that it's like, rather than just being a descriptor and being the possible coincidence that they match those descriptors, they can just hold the pages and be like, hey, it's me, I'm back. Her face held a firm certainty that I would let her in. She took some pieces of paper out of her pocket, unfolded them, and pressed them against the glass of the porthole with her palm. So I was right, it was a child. I recognized those papers. Pages from my diary. August 3rd, 2033. Today, someone knocked on my door. I took the pistol and went up to the exit. So she just happened to show up, because our memory doesn't go further than August 25th. So it had almost been a year. We made it to at least not to the day, but at least to the month, a year later. And she shows up. Through the porthole, a girl appeared before me, about 12 years old. She looked rough. A drifter, no doubt. She looked relieved when she saw me. I can't put into words what I felt. Before me was an unfortunate child who needed my help. I was ready to open the door, but came to my senses immediately. Surely, she might not be alone. She could simply be bait for those who want to get inside and take over my bunker. Or people, marauders, could be nearby waiting for me to open the door. She looked at me, expecting that I would open it, but I cannot take that risk. I tried to talk to her, but she remained silent. She made it clear that she could not speak. Still, I do not know how to act. She did not understand why I would not open the door for her. Soon her eyes filled with tears, as if begging me. What if she really is alone? August 4th, 2033. She's still waiting by the door. I want to let her in, truly. But such an unfortunate child can easily be used to achieve someone else's goals. Perhaps her parents are being threatened and held hostage, and she herself was forced to come to me. That's why she cried. I'll let her in, but then she'll open the door for them. Her parents and I will be killed, and she'll be left alive, not out of kindness. It all seems logical. Or perhaps everything is simpler. I'm just a coward. After all, I have a pistol and spare ammunition. What am I afraid of? Or maybe they're armed as well. I'm not going to start a shootout in here. August 5th, 2033. Today I looked through the porthole again. She's sitting on the floor, leaning her back against the door. She's probably asleep and hungry. I realize that my miserable life is worth nothing. Even if she's merely bait for marauders, I must let her in. Sit here and wait for my death? Why postpone the inevitable? It's better to spend my last days with someone, not alone, than several more years in solitude. And now she's in. I opened the door. Her fragile body fell inside. She was unconscious. She came to her senses a couple of hours later. I was afraid it was already too late. I would like to write that I will never forget those eyes, full of gratitude and the purity of her naive soul. But I know I'll forget them by tomorrow. August 7th, 2033. I admit, it is something more than simple surprise to wake up and see someone else here. Especially if it is a 12-year-old girl. I need to tape a note to my arm. So much has happened over the past few days, and I remember nothing. And every day I'm surprised when I read this diary. Her name is Leah. She's almost 12 years old. Communicating with her isn't easy. She's mute. Not from birth. We have to use a notebook and a pen to communicate. She told me a little bit about life outside. It cannot be worse than I can imagine. Humanity is living out its final days. There are fewer and fewer of such days, as long as there are those who try to survive at the expense of others. I asked her to understand why I didn't open the door, because she knows how unsafe life is now, even in a place like this. It seems she's not offended, probably because she has no choice, and I'm the one in charge here. But my conscience is gnawing at me. She has no father. For about a year, she wandered with her mother in search of help, but they ran into marauders. Oof. So, either they put an end to her mother, or they kidnapped her for reasons. They were hiding in the forest. Her mother hid Leah in the bushes and ran off herself to distract them from her daughter. Leah never saw her mother again. She believes that she's alive. I don't know if that would be a good thing. In her 12 years, the girl has endured more than I have in my 40. Her eyes still look like a child's. Pure, yet one can just as easily see the heavy burden she has been gathering and carrying for several years now. There is one more curious detail. I don't know whether Leah is infected, but there is something strange about her condition. Sometimes she seems to drop out of reality, and her gaze is directed somewhere into the distance. This lasts about a minute. I don't know what's happening in her head. When I asked how long this had been happening, she wrote that it had been about half a year. For us, it's been a year, for her, half. So if it's August, no memory lapses or paralysis of any organs or limbs have been observed in her. Does it affect everyone differently? Something tells me that these episodes of hers, and the loss of her voice, are somehow connected to the virus. August 9th, 2033. Still, it is good that I have board games and backgammon left. Leah did not know how to play any of it. I had to teach her. But she quickly got into it and constantly asked me to play backgammon with her. She likes it especially. She asked me not to go easy on her, which is why she has not won a single time. It doesn't upset her at all. With each new game, she wants to learn something new and finally beat me. Alright, fine. Don't give in. Crush her. No mercy. If she wants it that much, let her keep losing. Right. There's no other way to become better. I admit, all this can't be compared to a piece of juicy, fatty shashlik that I've been dreaming about for a long time. We use a lot of paper on her explanations and answers. We need to learn to use gestures, at least for common questions and words. Yeah, you need to learn sign language. We divided the turns for charging the battery on the exercise bike. She wanted it that way herself. She spends about 2 hours a day on it. I showed her how the bunker works, the underground well, the water supply system, and the other sanitary needs. I also showed her my library. She became interested in the books as well, and devotes quite a lot of time to reading. At least someone reads them. The conversation turned to me. I told her about my health, about the diary that I have to keep. I also told her about Dasha and what happened to her. Can you explain what happened to her? Because I'm not entirely sure. All you mentioned was that she wanted to go outside, but you didn't mention whether she came back and died or... What did you do with her body? Hello, Saucy. Welcome in. Thanks for your daily check-in. And I know you've been lurking since I did see your name in the list. I suddenly realized that after her death, no one had ever shown me any sympathy, and there was plenty of it in Leah's eyes. I talked a lot about Dasha, about her childhood, about how one scoundrel broke her heart, and how she could never forget him, which is why nothing ever worked out for her with anyone. When she asked why I never married, I answered with a twisted grimace, as if to say that it was not for me. So it was kind of like that kind of thing of like, oh, you don't have anyone, I don't have anyone. Yeah, let's hang out. That whole like, if we haven't met anyone married by like age 30 or 40, we'll marry each other. Leah did not study at school for so long. Leah did not study at school for long, so she does not even have completed. She has not even completed primary education. I'm trying to make up for these gaps in her. I myself, of course, have forgotten most of the school curriculum, but I can still tell her something about history, anatomy, and geography and geometry, and literature. Anatomy. I always had problems with the Russian language. Law, social studies, foreign languages, and computer science will no longer be of any use to us. August 13, 2033. I wanted to somehow diversify our diet, especially since there was a reason. I took canned meat and pasta out of my emergency reserves. I had not cooked anything for a long time. It turned out decent enough. At least Leah absolutely loved the pasta. I'll not flatter myself by thinking that I turned out to be a great cook. The poor girl had been eating who knows what for several years. But I must admit that in this bunker, I really am the best cook for her. August 16th, 2033. At school, Leah was clearly a top student. I admit that playing backgammon with her has become more difficult. I think she realized it when she waited twice as long as usual for my next move. Although, because of my memory, I have the feeling that she always knew how to play. August 18th, 2033. Leah says that she already asked me more than once to let her cook Navy-style pasta. In general, I learned a lot from her about us and how we usually spend our time. I cannot write everything down. Her pasta got burnt. She was upset that she had wasted the food. She said it was a stupid idea and that she would never do that again. No one has cooked for me in a very long time, so I ate everything down to the very last piece of pasta. August 19th, 2033. It seems there were consequences after all. At first, I thought the virus had begun to progress, but later I realized it was just ordinary food poisoning. Leah sees my condition, but I tell her that I'm simply tired or lacking vitamins. I think she guesses that it's all because of the pasta, with canned meat. She just does not show it. I lay on the couch until she chased me onto the bed that I'd given up to her. In the evening, I felt the urge to vomit. She brought me a bucket so that I would not have to run to the toilet. She made sure my glass of water was always full and forced me to drink more. While I was lying on the bed, she had to pedal the generator for the battery twice as long. I felt terrible, but for this first time in a long while, I was glad that I was not alone. August 23rd, 2033, so 2 days before our anniversary. Of our memory, anyway. We played too much backgammon. She managed it. She finally beat me. After jumping around in happiness, she asked me 20 more times whether I had let her win. I truly did not. Out of 5 games, she won twice. It will not be like this with every game we have. August 26, 2033, so a day after. Day after our memory anniversary. Leah has looked sad over the past 2 days. She misses her mother. She wants to see her again and find her. I keep convincing her that her mother would have wanted most of all for her daughter to find this place and be safe. And that going outside would mean exposing herself to the very danger her mother had been protecting her from all this time. She understands this, but she cannot come to terms with the thought that she may never see her again. I tried to distract the girl from these thoughts. I kept suggesting that we play something. I let her win a couple of times at backgammon, but she no longer felt any joy from winning. I heard her crying in the bathroom. I do not know how to help her or comfort her. I cooked Navy-style pasta and a few other things from the supplies we had. The smile on her face did not last long. August 30th, 2033. Today she stated that she would go out to search. I insisted that she stop these foolish conversations and declared that I would not let her out. So either she snuck out with the pistol or we gave her the pistol for safety. Our dialogue did not pass without tears. I can't stand seeing her cry. When she wrote to me on a piece of paper, I have no one except my mother. I almost asked her, what about me? But remembered that that would have been completely inappropriate. However, I am sure that this question was clearly written on my face, and she understood everything. And she answered it by saying that she would not want to put me in danger. It would be better for her if someone was waiting for her here. I cannot go with her, and she should not go out there at all. She's seen what our world has turned into. There are no people left, only rational primates who use their reason for their own survival. How can she want to go back out there? I cannot keep her here. In time, she would come to hate me. But at least I would not be alone. Why am I holding her back? For myself? Am I afraid of being alone? Of course I am. I can't return to that former life. Maybe I am asleep, and Leah is just a product of my dream. And what is she to do here? She lives by the foolish hope that she'll reunite with her mother. She's most likely no longer alive. I must not go with her. Did I really spend so many years building this bunker and rotting here, only to go outside and die? I know that I'm simply a coward. If not for this place, I would have become one of them. Because I'm a coward who fears only for his own life. That's why I will not go with Leah. That's why I will not let her go. That's why I will let her go. August 31st, 2033. I'll be able to forget all of this. I'll forget that Leah was here. I'll forget the time we spent together. I can easily forget that I'm a coward. The entries about Leah will kill me a little every day and remind me of a life that once existed, and that one can never truly give up. I will not dream if I do not remember. The chances that Leah might be able to come back here are so negligible that it's better not to hope for it at all. I will not be able to survive another loss and continue living alone. She will leave the same way Dasha did. They all leave. She's brave. I see that she's afraid to go outside, and yet she goes anyway, because she cannot do otherwise. Living in search and hope is better than her simply hoping. Perhaps I would feel the same if I had not found Dasha's body. Okay, thank you. More information on that. And yet, I do not have as much courage as Leah does. These pages will not be in my diary. So you ripped him out, but how did she get him? And what if Leah does come back? To keep her standing in front of a closed door again with my knees shaking? Ah, okay, so you gave them to her. She'll take these pages with her, and show them to me if she returns. September 1st, 2033. Just started? No, it's been 40 minutes. But hello, Mika. Hello, hello. I gave her as many supplies as she could carry. Warm clothes, some of Dasha's belongings, a knife, a lighter, paper and a pen, a compass, and a map of our city. No, we've been at it for a while. Hope it's still up to date. A pistol with spare ammunition. I hope she never needs it. Thank you for your day, chicken. Leah, you will surely want to read these pages. Through them, you will see straight through me and understand what kind of person I am. I am someone you should never become. You're doing the right thing. Forgive me for not being able to give you more. I live only by fear. This bunker is proof of that. I built it because I lived in fear. If you return, I will find meaning and believe that none of this was accidental. That the bunker was not built simply because I'm a coward, but because one day you were meant to come here in order to be saved. And so that you could receive what your mother was willing to give her life for. What if she found the marauders and they forced her back here? After seeing the notes. I'm waiting for you here. You and your mother. Please, Leah, come back. This is your home. Yeah, what if she did find her mother? What if her mother was still alive, and they promised to let her mother go if she brought them back here? October 14th, 2033. The feeling I experienced when I read these lines is something no one else has ever felt. Not a single person in this world. Hello, Shoujo. Welcome in. Oh, good night. Sleep well. And thanks for stopping by. And since I'm not a poet, it's impossible to express it with words alone. I'll have to experience this feeling every day. Thank you for your daily check-in. Leah returned to me. I was waiting for her, though I didn't know it myself. She hugged me the moment the door opened. She cried. She showed me a chain that she had torn from her mother's body. It was lying not far from the place where they had been separated. Of course, at first I simply did not understand what was happening. There was nothing attached to the chain, not even a locket with a photograph, just a piece of jewelry with a stone. I will never know what the woman who gave birth to my savior looked like. There were 6 rounds left in the pistol out of 8. The spare ammunition was never used. It did not go without encounters after all. She's a brave girl. Leah has seen too much in her life. It is a pity that she cannot simply forget it. But now, everything will be fine. October 19th, 2033. Today, Leah wanted to go outside again. It seems that after what happened, the bunker has become too cramped for her. Now she needs fresh air. After all, she is still a child. Overall, this idea did not seem very good to me. So I went with her. Of course, she had to persuade me, but I felt that I was ready. Oh. Maybe I should save here. I don't know how important the other choices were. They didn't seem that important, but this one. Go for a walk with Leah. I had not been there since I buried Dasha. Probably. I could not help but take the pistol with me. You never know who we might meet on the way. Excuse me? April. April 15th, 2034. That's a jump. What was it, October 19th? Now we're in April. I have a theory. Leah's infected with the virus, but her immune system has learned to restrain it. The reason for this may be her age. Young organisms with heightened immunity begin to adapt. Most likely, such carriers will pass this ability on to their children, and they to theirs. The virus has affected the vocal cords and the areas of the brain responsible for speech. Her minute-long episodes of dropping out of reality may be a protective mechanism, preventing the virus from affecting the entire organism in all regions of the brain. Yeah, it's a big time skip. Leah's state of health is excellent. This is only a theory, but if it is correct, then the only salvation of our species may lie in saving children like Leah. They are the very generation that will be able to live with the virus without harm to the body. They must be found. They need shelter. Are you saying you're going to go out? Perhaps somewhere among the survivors, there are already people who have confirmed or refuted my theory. But there is a chance that I'm right. And if I'm right, then sitting and waiting for old age together with Leah is not an option at all. I believe that I built this bunker not because I'm a coward. I built it for her and for those like Leah. I just didn't know it then. Now, I do. She must not go with me, but she holds a different opinion. On the one hand, I understand that I'll not be able to carry out this mission without her help. I will have to wake up not in the bunker, not on my bed, but up there, above ground. The first thing that will seize me will be panic. There will be no one nearby to calm me down and bring me to my senses before I open the diary. My memory lapses will make this path much more dangerous. I'll not be able to remember the route, or any important places or details. The diary is a weak helper in this regard. Yes, Leah's life is priceless now. Not only to me, but without her, everything could fall apart. Or perhaps I'm simply glad that I'll not be alone. She wants to go with me and understands the importance of our journey. We're taking canned food and as much water as we can carry. 2 knives, a flashlight with spare batteries, some cookware and utensils, a compass, a lighter, and a pistol with spare ammunition. Leah suggested taking the backgammon set. It's a foolish idea, but she said she would carry it herself. She says that if everything goes well, the road may be no less boring than staying in the bunker. Yes, a long journey awaits us, and I do not believe that we have come this far just to die along the way. They step out, instantly shot in the head. I'm sure that something greater awaits us. I was not yet ready to leave together with her. It seems she's already independent enough for this. Chapter 2. That was all Chapter 1? Did I even see Chapter 1? I don't remember seeing Chapter 1. Okay, we're outside. About 3 days after our group was attacked, I heard some noise on the radio. Tanya, who was always with us kids, shoved it in my hands in a hurry. Wait, are we a new character? Oh, we are. There were 7 of us. We lived in a big building. The adults said it used to be an office. When we ran, we had to split up. That's what the adults taught me. We were shown where we could hide in case something like that happened. One of the places was the trunk of a black car, not far from the office. The lid could be closed from the inside. Not all the way. No one was chasing me, because I was one of the first to run. I couldn't find any of the others. When I went back to the office, I heard unfamiliar voices inside. That's when I knew the worst thing they'd warned us about had happened. I didn't know what to do next. Tanya said that if it ever came to this, I had to try to find good people. Anyway, the radio. Hello? Hello? A boy's voice answered. Hello? Hello? Who is this? I asked. Is there someone there? Yes. Are you a boy? What's your name? Pasha. And what's your name? Oh, wait, what? Who said what? It was me talking. Wait. I thought we said this, but now he's saying... His name was Pasha? I'm confused. He asked us what our name is. We said Pasha and what's your name, and now it's saying Pasha is about the same age as me. Huh? Okay. And it's saying that he's saying this. I think... I feel like we were supposed to have said this. I think it's gotten confused about who's talking. Well, whatever. Pasha is about the same age as me. He and his group live in a shelter, just like our group did until quite recently. I felt this rush of relief. I thought I was safe. I thought I'd found a new home. If I tell them that I use the radio, they'll take it away and hide it so I can't use it. We're not allowed to talk to strangers. The adults don't want anyone to find our home. Okay, we are Pasha. I remember how I almost started crying when I heard the word home. I wanted to go home too. To see Tanya and everyone who lived with us. I could barely grasp that I might never see them again, and that now I was alone. We'd been warned this could happen, but you still hope for the best. Are you crying? I couldn't answer anything. In front of my eyes were still those I had been separated from. Why are you crying? I told him what had happened to me, and that now I was looking for good people in a new home. I had already been living on the street for 3 days, and I was hungry. I was cold and didn't know where to go. Pasha, can I talk to one of the adults? I really am alone. Wait, no, I think this is us talking. I'm so confused. I was hard to yeah, it was us talking. I was hard to hear because I wouldn't stop sobbing. My knees were buckling, and I wanted to just drop to the ground. I think maybe this was supposed to be like here, indicating it's us talking, and somehow it got into the dialogue box? Was that the same for the other one? I don't know. I think, because this is obviously translated. It's supposed to be Russian, I believe. Because before, the other character talked about how he didn't know the Russian language too well. Like, he didn't remember some bits for teaching it to her. I'm sorry. We were told that children are used to gain people's trust. But I'm alone, Pasha. I swear, I don't know how to prove that I'm alone. Tell me what I need to do. I don't even know how you could find us. But even if you did find us, would we be able to help you? We hardly have any food. If there are more of us, it would only make things worse for the whole group. I just don't want to be alone. I don't remember how much longer I cried and talked with Pasha. He was right. I don't even know where they are or how to find them. But I have no other choice. I'll look for them. Maybe they'll take me in. Autumn was over. I didn't manage to grab warm clothes to survive the winter. No matches, no lighter. In several abandoned apartments, I managed to find some clothes. You can't really call them warm, but if you put everything on at once, you can keep warm. It was harder to get used to the smell, though. Before, living in our shelter, I used to see snow as something beautiful and clean. Why'd the sound go away? Oh. Now every morning, it reminded me of what I'd have to get through that day. My shoes were soaked through. Impossible to dry. Walking down the street felt like stepping on ice barefoot. The wind burned my face and, like something alive, wanted to knock me into the snow so that I wouldn't get up again. One day, in an empty shop, I managed to find a surviving lighter. It was the only bright moment after I had to leave the shelter. I threw everything that could burn into the fire, paying no attention to the smoke or how it smelled. My hands and feet so rarely get to feel warmth. I watched the fire, and it gave me hope that I would still manage to find Pasha. Every night, I had to look for a roof and 4 walls to sleep under, to make a fire, warm myself, and dry my clothes. When I ran into people, I never knew in advance whether they were good or bad, but I didn't want to risk it and find out. In most cases, it was frightening to see an adult stranger who was physically stronger than me. Once, I entered one of those houses to spend the night. Every time, I had to check whether someone was inside, waiting. Whether I'd entered a house where someone had already settled. Tanya said that there are people who would feel sorry for a teenage girl and want to help. But there seemed to be fewer and fewer of them. How to act correctly, how one should live, and what needs to be done so as to never feel the pain of losing those dear to us and consequences of our choices. It seems I even managed to make her smile, and when I told her that it was over, Now she has a home. She has us. She will no longer need the gun. I'm sorry? What are you talking about? Wait. What's happening? What if I do this one? Maybe those were the good people I was looking for. Lost in my thoughts, I imagined that they could be people from Pasha's group. Maybe I should go back. But tomorrow. At least see that house again and look at those who were there in the daylight. Not at night. The next day I returned to that house, hiding in the bushes. I listened and watched. I hoped to see someone. Soon, 2 men came out. They were dressed in warm clothes, like everyone at this time of year. Hello, Akai! Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Raiders. Hello, hello. How was your stream? For those who don't know, my name is Carl Wolf. I'm a daily streamer and variety gamer, especially a story gamer. I play visual novels, RPGs, adventure games, point-and-click adventure games, survival games, Pokemon fan games, and horror games, playing a different game every day. And today is our visual novel day, so we are playing something called The Bunker Notes. Apparently there's a pandemic out in the world, and our first character in Chapter 1 was someone who had locked himself in his bunker. But apparently now we're in Chapter 2 with a new character, a little girl who's out in the surface, who's lost her group, and is trying to find a new group potentially to survive. Good, got to the trail, but it was taking forever, so we're gonna go to bed. Alrighty. Oh, yeah, Raiders, do make sure to get some after-stream care. Get some food, water, or sleep if it's that time. And have a good sleep, Akai. Rest well. They were talking about something and seemed to be getting ready to go look for supplies. They had empty backpacks. We'll look for a bit and pass out. Alrighty. I couldn't make out anything specific. I thought about going inside. There might still be someone left inside. I didn't know how many of them there were, and I still didn't know what I needed to see, or what would prove they were good. Not marauders, not cannibals, not people who kill others for food. Tanya taught us that not to take risks if we weren't completely sure. But I was ready to take the risk. How much longer could I live alone? Either I would die of hunger and freeze in the snow, or I would become a victim of marauders. I wanted to talk to someone. The only one I could talk to was Pasha. Right, so we managed to find someone on the radio, a young boy. I guess we've still been talking to them. That winter, the only thing that kept me going was a half-empty lighter and the chance to talk to Pasha. I told him about the people I had encountered. They were not from his group. After that, my curiosity and desire to enter the house vanished. I moved on. There were still 2 months of winter ahead. Hoping to find at least some food was only possible in the center of some small town, which was where I was headed. Wouldn't this definitely have other people here then? Everything had to be done before dark. I spent another day on the road. Sometimes, I think that the exhausting days of trudging through the snow would have been far better than what I had to face afterward. I reached the town and first looked for a place to spend the night. It seemed that it had once been a grocery store. Of course, there is no food inside. However, not far from it, I managed to find a can of beans. It was a real reward at the end of a hard day spent on the road. Maybe whoever had stripped the store had loaded themselves down with too much, and didn't notice his can falling from their hands or backpack. I barely restrained myself from devouring the contents of the can. You never know when luck like this will happen again, so I had to hold back and eat little by little. The locks on the doors were intact. Thank God. I locked everything and no longer remembered how I fell asleep. Hello? The sounds happened a little too early. Pasha got in touch. I told him where I was and that today I had even managed to have dinner. Wait, was that early or late? Was that us locking the door? Because the knocking sound from before in the first chapter came early. So maybe that one just came late and that was us locking the door? What do you think? Is this town far... no, this is us talking. What do you think? Is this town far from you? I don't know. Tomorrow I'll try to ask one of the adults. I hope you're already close. I rarely leave our shelter. So it says our name is Pasha, but that's the boy. I don't know why. This is a Russian game. I think there's a translation issue. Where are your parents, Pasha? Dead. I barely remember them. Are yours alive? Or wait, was that him talking? I did see one of the reviews talk about this issue, about who was talking. I guess this is what they were talking about, because there was no issue in the first chapter. I think this was him asking. Where are your parents, Pasha? Or where are your parents? Dead. I barely remember them. Are yours alive? No, I barely remember mine too. Sometimes they appear in my dreams, but their faces fade as soon as I wake up. Why do we remember our dreams so poorly? It's the same for me. Probably everyone does. I wish I could remember more of my dreams too. In my dreams, I'm always full and I eat a lot, and the food tastes better there. Yes, exactly. Sometimes you don't even want to wake up. You're right. I really don't want to wake up. A new day came. It was time to search the town and find something useful. What happened there? On my way, I came across a former residential building. A high-rise. Its left side was destroyed. It looked like they had tried to demolish it, but never finished. I had seen something like this in photographs. Buildings after explosions or bombings. The part of the building that remained intact could be searched. During the search, I met Alice. Who are you? She asked. Are you alone here? Oh, we're Sasha. Finally we have a name. So is that why I kept messing up Pasha? Our name is Sasha and the boy is Pasha. Yes, I'm Sasha. Now it's mixing up who's talking again. Alone? You're bait, aren't you? Your group is somewhere nearby. No, I'm alone. My group. We were attacked. I managed to run away, and since then I've been alone. I could tell from her eyes how hard it was for her to decide whether she could trust me. She knew there was nothing unbelievable in my short story. Stories like that happen all the time, so she didn't ask what I was doing here. It was already obvious. If you're lying and yours are somewhere nearby waiting for me, know this. I have nothing. Just this knife. And I have a lighter. After those words, her look changed. It seemed she desperately needed fire, too. I took the lighter out of my pocket and showed it to her. What's your name? I asked. Alice. Can you make a fire for me? We went down into the ruins where Alice lived. Apparently she wasn't alone. She walked as if someone was waiting for her. I kept comforting myself with hope the whole time we walked, that I had finally met good people and that now I was no longer alone. Where are we going? To my father. Your parents are alive? Only my father. Yeah, it's definitely got the names wrong. In the few seconds before meeting her father, something in my chest tightened with envy. I drifted into dreams of being in her place. I remembered how Tanya told us that for parents, the meaning of life is their children. That is, they live for us, and if they lose their child, the meaning of everything is lost as well. I wanted someone to live for me too, I wanted to give meaning and a reason for someone to keep living and not give up. When we arrived, we ended up under a collapse where you had to move on all fours or crawl. I hoped we would end up in a hidden shelter, and that we would jump into some sealed basement any moment now. But instead, we came up against a concrete barrier. A wall of debris, at the bottom of which there was a gap where you could only slip in a hand or a foot. Nothing more. The smell I sensed when I came closer made me cover my nose. It smelled of feces, like in many abandoned buildings. Alice looked into the gap and said, "Dad, I'm not alone."
"Who's there?"
A hoarse male voice came from the other side. "It's a girl. Her name is Sasha. We just met. She has a lighter." The first thing that emerged from the gap was the hand of an adult man, dirty and bony. Its appearance was unsettling and made me not want to touch it. Following the hand, the right side of a face appeared, with a red, cracked eye that examined me and stared straight at me. But when I finally realized what had happened to Alice's father, a chill ran through my body, and I no longer wanted to be in her place.
"Hello, Sasha."
The face in the gap greeted me politely.
"Don't be afraid. We're good people."
This man had fallen into a trap, and seemed to have been there for a long time. He asked me to call him Uncle Kolya.
"We'll make a fire now. I'll bring you hot water so you can warm up."
We went back, and when we reached the passage where it was finally possible to straighten up, Alice began her story. Alice's group and her father had stopped nearby. They couldn't stay in one place. They constantly had to search for food. There were 9 of them in total. The building had already been destroyed when her father found it. Sometimes, in places like this, under the debris, you could find many useful things, and even food. Only the lazy and those who don't like taking risks didn't search the ruins. These days, there are almost none like that. Desperation and hunger force everyone to act, and Uncle Kolya was no exception. A gas pipeline had exploded in this house, and debris still sometimes fell due to strong wind or vibrations. That's how she said it, I think. No one wanted to return to their people empty-handed. Uncle Kolya always came back later than everyone else after searches, but never empty-handed. First of all, because he was thinking about Alice. This time he went too far and lost his caution. Sometimes it's enough to step the wrong way for the stone dust holding the slabs in place to start pouring down. Alice's father didn't manage to get out. He was trapped. His right leg was pinned by chunks of concrete slabs. Most likely, he doesn't even feel his leg anymore. It's gonna rot. When they found him, they immediately understood that the situation was hopeless. There was no necessary equipment or people with experience to pull someone out from under the collapse. The decision was not easy, but it was obvious. Uncle Kolya had to be left. He understood that himself. So I'm guessing Alice stayed behind then. She left the group. Alice begged everyone not to abandon her father. Everyone who could try. Everyone tried to comfort her and help her face reality. Then she said without hesitation that she would stay with her father and take care of him. Everyone, even her father, tried to dissuade Alice. But for her, there was only one option, and no other. The members of their group fully understood what she was condemning herself to. They left them part of the supplies and went away. A month had passed since then. At that time, Alice had been searching. The harsh winter hadn't spared her. Slippery paths, loose and unpredictable snow. A few days ago, she slipped while trying to climb into a closed building on the second floor. She landed in the snow, but beneath it was a pile of scrap metal that apparently no one had managed to get rid of back in the carefree days. Ooh. A fracture, a sprain, a dislocation, torn ligaments. We don't have a doctor nearby who could determine that. And even in this condition, she continues to do what she condemned herself to. If it were my father, I would have done the same as she did. We made a fire. Alice boiled water in a pot. She poured it into a mug and took it to her father. She treated me to dried fruit. Thank you. I think tomorrow we won't have anything left to eat. I was planning to go to a neighboring settlement and look for something. You can only find it from here if you know the trail. There's no direct road from here. Everything there is here. I've already searched. While she was talking, I felt something warming me from the inside. It wasn't the fire, but the realization that I had succeeded. I had been looking for Alice and Uncle Koya. I was exactly where I was supposed to be. We spent the night in one of the apartments where the locks hadn't been broken. She pointed to a bed where I could lie down. We chatted before sleep about all sorts of things. It was one of those days when I didn't take out the radio even once. Shouldn't you just introduce her to Pasha? When she fell asleep, I allowed myself to drift into dreams. About how we would figure out how to save Uncle Koya. Then we would find Pasha and his group. They'd take us in, and everything would be like it was before. And maybe, over time, Tanya would find us too. She's alive and looking for me. And she'll find me soon. And not alone, but in a new home with a new family. Hello, Jordan. Welcome in. Thanks for your day check-in. Such dreams calm me and help me fall asleep. A cold morning awakening brought me back to our reality. The first thing I did was look for Alice. She left? She could only be in one place now. I hope she didn't, go back to her father and then it collapsed on both of them. I was right. She was under the collapse, where Uncle Koya's hand was sticking out of a small gap, held by his daughter. They were talking about something. It was hard to understand what emotions Alice was feeling. There was very little light there, coming through the gaps. Last night, I'd been dreaming that everything would be fine for us. But feeling their despair, I remembered that our hardships were still ahead. You can't just sit idle. I wanted everything to be okay for this family. Watching your anime? Alright, have fun. It's hard to watch what they were going through. I can't see and accept this reality. 8 hours. Oof. You say you tried. Did you get it working? So I finally got it done. Okay, you did. I started relaxing like an hour ago. I see. Fair enough. A family trying to stay together at a time like this. A father and a daughter living for each other. I don't remember when I last saw anything like this. I have to do something to preserve at least some light in this hell. How do I get to that settlement? I asked. Why? I know the way. Everything will be fine. I think it's better if you stay with your father. Why's that? If something happens to both of us, there'll be no one left to take care of your father. That's why the safest option is for one of us to stay with him. She said she was sorry that she never managed to find Pasha and his group. Of course, I decided that perhaps her radio was simply faulty. So this is Alice's point of view? Or is this just a mistranslation of pronouns? I said I was sorry that I never managed to find Pasha and his group. Of course, I decided that my radio was simply faulty. I don't... Because it says when I examined it, I saw that one of the... I don't know. I don't know if it's just a mistranslation of pronouns. Because they wanted you to install this random shit, they wanted you to go through the roundabout ass process of decompiling the data and reconstructing it, decompiling it to patch it, and then you needed a completely different emulated file, and the code would basically read the modded version. That's crazy. I'm gonna say when I examined it, I saw that one of the batteries was missing. It says Sasha, but I don't know if this is me talking. I just don't think it'll be easy for me to make this journey alone. It'll be hard, but I understand all the risks. I think this way it'll be safer. Alone, I'll get there faster. Unfortunately, your injured leg would slow us down. We found some paper. She drew me directions and a map, and also marked places that were worth checking for sure. An hour later, I set off towards the settlement. By her calculations, the road should take a day, a day and a half at most, if there was no need to wait for a limping companion. I completely forgot about Pasha and the radio. On the way, we got in touch. Wait, I thought one of the batteries was missing. Oh, wait a minute. If one of the batteries is missing and we got in touch... So were those choices her point of view? Why was it her point of view? Point of view of Alice instead of us, I told him about what happened to me while I hadn't been in contact. About Alice, about her father, and about our further plan. He was glad that I was no longer alone, but something still worried him. What will you do when you go back to them? Will you help Alice take care of her father? I was sure that this is exactly how it would be, but he asked in a tone as if I were making an obvious mistake. Probably, yeah. I'm not sure this is right for you. I don't know what could save them from this situation. Maybe... What, Pasha? Maybe you really shouldn't go back. And just keep going. I didn't know how to feel when I heard that. On one hand, I clearly remember getting angry that he didn't understand me. Perhaps at that moment, he was the only one who showed such concern. I tried to understand what he meant, even if not right away. From his side, this decision seemed more correct. Maybe it is better, I replied. Maybe I'm just afraid of being alone again. Have you ever been... Oh. It's us. Have you ever been alone, Pasha? Completely alone? No. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't answered me that day. You gave me hope that I wouldn't be alone forever. Now that I found Alice and her father, maybe a sad ending really awaits them. And me too, if I stay with them. But that's still better than being alone again. Besides, maybe I'll manage to find your group too. Would you stay with them if you could join us? I hadn't thought about that either. I don't know. Do you know how far this radio can reach? I don't know either. It seems to me that as long as I can hear you... Wait. They're not finding us, I'm finding them. Did we... Is this us who said it? It says Sasha, but... I don't know who asked how far the radio can reach. Shouldn't he be asking us how far our radio can reach? Because we don't know what kind of radio his is. His could be a bigger, more official one. I think this is us saying it. I think we're talking twice now. It seems to me that as long as I can hear you, I've got a chance to find you. The first thing I wanted to deal with was getting food for Alice and poor Uncle Koya. And then I'd decide what to do next. I had promised them, and right now they had nothing and no one else to rely on. I walked quite fast. Instead of a small, quiet town, a bare forest appeared before my eyes again. The thought of how long this road would have taken if Alice had gone with me made me shudder. In addition to a slow pace, we would have had to stop every few hours. Luckily, when I reached the settlement, it had only just gotten dark. I felt relief that I wouldn't have to spend the night somewhere in the forest. If Alice was right, this place should have remained relatively untouched. Places like that are almost gone now. Broken windows and wide open doors suggested that someone had already been here with the same goal as me. Empty houses, long since looted, made me think that this journey had been in vain. Without supplies, not only would I suffer, but also my new companions, whom I already wanted to call my group. I didn't want to return empty-handed. Not out of shame, but because an already desperate father and daughter would see no light at the end of the tunnel. I had to search everything here. At least then, I would know that I'd done everything I could for them. Soon, that house appeared on my path. A 2-story cottage. I can't say what made it so different from the others, but there was an immediate feeling that it had been protected, and that someone needed it. The door was locked. Trying to force it open would have drawn the attention of whoever was inside. I hid and waited to see if anyone would come out. There was no response to my attempts to get in. I started looking for another way inside. Luckily, there was an unlocked window. I climbed in through. After a more thorough search, I managed to find some food. It was dried meat, wrapped in plastic and film. I was curious, so I still decided to ask Sasha, whether she knew how the radio worked, whether anyone had taught her, whether she had been told where to press. I think you mean Pasha. The answer was no. How could the radio have worked with just one battery, or it hadn't worked at all? Huh? So we knew the radio? I'm confused. I think this is us. So it should be Pasha, and whether he knew how the radio worked. How could the radio have worked with just one battery? Or it hadn't worked at all? So we are aware that it was just one battery? I'm so confused at these choices now. And then kind of ignores it. What's going on there? In one of the rooms, in an unlocked wardrobe, I found a diary. It was a thing that helped me learn the story of this place. What? What do you mean the answer was no? It seems like these two are related. Despite the fact that I hadn't eaten for almost 2 days, the thought that it might not be animal meat frightened me. I felt a wave of nausea when I imagined a corpse, human flesh that I might be putting into my mouth. Nearby in the next room, I found several torn wool hides. It seemed someone had tried to sew something out of them. Perhaps the meat really wasn't human. Or maybe hunger was simply convincing me of that. The meat tasted salty. I don't remember the last time I noticed my mouth filling with saliva, droplets involuntarily running down. If it tastes salty, they're probably trying to preserve it. I made a real effort not to eat everything I had found at once. I tried to distract myself with something else and continued searching the house. Someone had definitely lived here, or still lives here. Perhaps the owners are no longer alive. It's unknown when they left the house, or if they will return. Why did we go through all of them? Almost every room had a bed with a blanket and pillow. Probably at least 4 people lived here. The house was a good shelter. The walls didn't feel frozen or ruined by the cold. Everything looked almost the same as in our office. In the wardrobe, I could find clothes that fit me. I was glad at the thought that I might meet teenagers here just like me. Here it is. Anton has been living with us for almost a week. No one's afraid of him anymore. He has done many useful things for us and made things easier for many of the girls. Oh, sorry. Before, we had to do all the men's work ourselves. Now we have a real man in the house who looks after us. The people Anton used to live with taught him how to hunt, build, reinforce, and insulate houses. He never sits idle. He's always busy with something. He spends most of his time hunting or simply looking for something useful. Very responsible for a 19-year-old boy. Just recently, the four of us girls were living together and struggling to handle everything. And now it's hard to believe we could have managed without a man. Every time Anton goes out hunting, we worry that he won't come back, or that he'll decide to leave us. But he always comes back, and very rarely with empty hands. How would we go on living without him? I want to talk to him, but I don't even know about what. Once I asked him if it was hard to hunt animals. He talked to me like I was a little kid. With the other girls, he speaks completely differently, as equals. I'm guessing you're the youngest? Yes. Yes, I'm younger than they are. I don't look as grown up as Anya, Dina, and especially Lena. What can I do at 12? At best, he'll see me as a little sister. Okay, so we have another 12-year-old. Is your name Leah? But Leah had a mother, so clearly not. All the girls are in love with him. Lena behaves more restrained than anyone. She's the smartest of us. But Dina and Anya aren't afraid at all of looking like fools. They don't miss a chance to talk to him. They always ask him for help. It's some little thing, and they ask him to take them hunting at least once. At first he felt awkward from so much attention, but he got used to it very quickly. It seems that soon he'll return someone's feelings. The day before yesterday, he spent a very long time in Anya's room. It was practically before bedtime. The next day, Dina went to meet him when he came back from hunting. They were gone for a long time. It turned out they had just been walking while we were worried about them and thought something had happened. Most of all, Anya was angry, of course. Dina, it seems, didn't take it all seriously. I knew Lena wasn't indifferent to this either, but she just tried to avoid conflicts in general. She's very kind and good. There was no point for me to say anything. If they noticed me and remembered that I was in the same room as everyone else, they would tell me to leave, so I just listened in silence. Anya left offended and outraged. They only noticed my presence when Dina went back to her room. The next day, everyone spoke to each other only about business. Anton behaved as if nothing had happened. Probably for the best. Tonight, he went outside for a walk. With Anya. And when they came back, they went up to her room. Anton didn't come out of there until morning. Apparently, I wasn't the only one who spent the whole night waiting for him to come out. Dina didn't leave her room all day. Lena brought her breakfast and lunch to her room. Apparently, she decided not to get out of bed and spent the whole day in it. The following nights, Anya slept in Anton's room, or the other way around. Today, Dina came out of her room. Maybe she finally felt uncomfortable that everyone around was busy with chores except her. For her, simply seeing Anton and Anya together in the same room was torture. Even though they tried not to show their relationship in front of us, it didn't really make it any easier for Dina. One day, she went out for a walk. Lena went with her. She said you can't leave her alone. I also tried to stay near Dina. She constantly wanted to cry. Lena stayed the night with her. Before bed, they talked for a long time. I was curious to what they were talking about, so I listened at the door. Every word Dina said circled around one thought. Why keep living if everything only gets worse? At last, a spark appeared, like the kind that could help you gain at least some happiness, at least in something, and then it disappears. The thought that happiness could still have been possible reminds you that the world and everything around you is only dying. If before she hoped for something, now everything is meaningless. There's no point in surviving, no point in enduring all these hardships. Lena barely argued with her. We all think about it before we fall asleep, but Anya was luckier than us. I mean, you're all still young. I mean, you didn't tell me how old the three girls were, but I'm guessing they're teenagers. Probably anywhere from 17 to 19, I guess, as well. I don't know. I mean, you just have to wait. Other people might show up. This morning, Dina didn't come out of her room again. I brought her lunch, but there was no one there. We searched the whole house. It seems she left at night. Everyone went to look for her. But our search was unsuccessful. All we could do was wait and hope that she would return. 3 days have passed, and Dina didn't return. At first, Anya was angry at her and was sure she would come back soon. Yesterday she cried because she realized we would never see her again. She felt guilty. But can you say she did something wrong? No, she didn't. In our house, there's a book about the International Space Station, about how people live and work on it for years. It says that people on the ISS are forbidden to have romantic relationships with each other. It seemed cruel to me and strange. Adults think about too many things. Now I understand why that rule is needed. Yeah. Yesterday, Anya and Anton had their first real fight. You could hear it from her room. Lena tried not to pay attention. At night, Anya slept alone in her room. Anton was angry all the next day. He spent little time on household chores. He didn't go hunting. He didn't do anything in the yard like he usually does. Winter came. Snow completely covered our house. Anya and Anton haven't spoken for almost 2 days. Anya leaves the room as soon as he comes in. Anton tried several times to talk to her. No luck. They don't tell me anything. Will it really be like this forever? Will I always be a child to them, not understanding what's going on? It's unfair. At lunch, Anton suddenly began accusing us of being ungrateful to him. Uh-oh. He was yelling, screaming as obscenities. Lena and I had never seen him like that. He claimed that if not for him, we would have starved to death, or would have eaten me, the youngest and most useless of us. At those words, tears started coming to my eyes on their own. Anya argued back at him just as loudly. She yelled back at him, and she was unfair, too. You could tell she just wanted to provoke Anton. She said that before he showed up, everything had been fine. There'd been 4 of them, not 3 like now. He hit Anya so hard that she fell off the chair onto the floor. "Ungrateful pig!" he shouted. I became scared. I wanted to leave, but I was afraid to move. Anya lunged at him. The blow didn't frighten her at all. It only added rage and strength. He hit her again. This time he used his fist instead of his palm. Lena told me to go to my room. I left. I closed the door behind me. The screams continued for a few more minutes. Then everything went quiet. Everyone went to their rooms. Anton went outside. The next day, Anton and Anya made up. I don't know what drives them. Love? Or something else? I guess tensions are high. Hopefully he's not showing true colors or turning into an asswipe. Hopefully it's just tensions are high. Life is rough. They are teenagers. Yeah, I agree with this. After what happened in the kitchen, it's hard to believe that everything will be fine between them. Yesterday they slept in the same room again. I never thought Anton was capable of this. That he could hurt one of us. We thought we were safe since the moment he started living with us and taking care of us. It makes me uneasy to think that one day Lena and I could end up in Anya's place. I hope it was just once. Anya angered him badly. They forgave each other for what was said. Probably. I hope he didn't do anything to Dina. I don't know if I can endure something like that. And will I ever be in Anya's place? Would he be able to hit me if he wanted to? I'm scared. At what moment did everything go wrong? When a man appeared in this house? Or when we began to dream of mutual love? Or when Dina left us? I want everything to be the way it was before. Tonight they argued again. First we heard shouting from the room. Anya was furious. It sounded as if someone was hitting the wall and the floor with something hard. A minute later, the door burst open. Anton was pushing her out of the room. Then, holding her by the elbow, he led her through the entire corridor. He led her all the way to the exit and shouted, "Ungrateful bitch! Filth!" Anya was wearing a long t-shirt and sweatpants. She had no shoes on, only socks. He opened the door and a strong freezing wind blew on. She tried to break free, but she couldn't overpower him. Anton shoved her out, saying, "Go cool off, bitch!" Lena tried to follow Anya, but he pushed her away from the exit and said that if anyone let her back in, he would throw both of them out. Lena froze. Starting to feel like true colors. He reminded us that we were surviving the winter thanks to him. That he works for us every day, and in return we take Anya's side. All the while he was talking, she was banging on the locked door from the other side and screaming to be let in. I wanted to open it for her, but Anton threatened me with his finger, saying, "Do you really want to go outside with her?" I lowered my eyes. He ordered us to go to our rooms. We didn't obey him. In response, he punched the wall behind Lena. Lena flinched aside. Anya kept banging on the door with all her strength. We went to our rooms, and he stayed by the entrance. It seems he sat there the entire evening. No one is knocking on the door anymore. It's already morning. I didn't sleep at all. I didn't sleep all night. Lena probably didn't either. Early in the morning, we went to the exit. Anton was no longer there. When we opened the door, we hoped to see Anya. Of course, she must have tried to find some shelter from the night frost. We found her unconscious in a leaky garage not far from the house. She had nothing to cover herself with. She was just lying in the corner, frozen, barely conscious. We brought her inside. Her forehead was hot like a kettle. Anton met us. The sight of the frozen Anya stunned him. Perhaps he did feel guilty for what he had done, but he was certain that everything would be fine. He kept repeating this to us and to Anya, who probably couldn't even hear us now. No one knows what to do in such a case. No one has ever treated anything like this. We have no medicine. We just put a cold cloth on her forehead. Anton didn't leave her side afterward. He apologized to Anya and tried to explain why he did it. He came up with strange justifications connected to his parents and the people he had lived with before us. The fever still hasn't gone down. I don't know what will happen tomorrow. I hope she feels better. Poor Anya. We're so helpless. Anya didn't get better. She lies motionless on the bed, as if she's sleeping. Her expression is like someone having a bad dream. If you pull off the blanket or push her, it seems she would immediately open her eyes or mumble something indistinct. Anton cried with his face buried in the blanket. Or maybe just pretends. Lena cries in her room. Anton was digging a grave. Lena and I wrapped Anya's body in the blanket she slept in. We carried her outside. Anton laid her in the pit so carefully, as if she were still alive. Good job. 2 rooms in this house were now empty. We didn't touch their things, left everything as it was, as if they had simply gone out and would return home soon. Their beds were unmade as well. I don't want to clean up here. Behind the door, you could hear people walking, talking to each other, sometimes even laughing. Now, only Anton's heavy footstep could be heard. We don't know what he's thinking about. About a week had passed. Yesterday before sleep, Anton went into Lena's room. When I fell asleep, he was still there. Today I asked Lena what he wanted from her, and why he stayed in her room for so long. To my question, Lena only replied that we need to run. Gather our things, the remaining food, and everything necessary. She'll let me know when we can run. She was so frightened, but tried to be strong and suppress her emotions. I saw a mark on her neck. It looked like a bruise. A hickey? When she noticed my reaction, she repeated that we can't stay here with Anton. She was afraid of him. And so was I. He'll return from hunting soon. We will run at night. Anton spent the entire night in Lena's room. Strange sounds were coming from her room again, like the ones when he drove Anya out into the frost. I went up to her room. It was clear that some kind of argument was going on. I tried to enter the room, but it was locked from the inside. Everything inside went silent. Mila, is that you? Lena asked. Yes. Go to sleep, Mila. Go to sleep, Mila, Anton shouted. Mila, everything is fine. Go to sleep. Okay, I replied. I pretended to leave, but decided to stay nearby, in case he wanted to do something to her. Tomorrow, Lena might have more than just a bruise left. Come here. Don't be afraid. Come to me, I heard Anton say. He became soft and kind again. Is this us talking? I think so. We'll run away tomorrow, when he goes hunting. They didn't leave the room all day, except to use a toilet. And when Lena carried food into the room, we met in the kitchen. Her desperate look. She tried to hold herself together when she saw me. Without saying a word, she took the meat and carried it upstairs to Anton. I want to run away, but I can't abandon Lena. I won't survive alone, and I don't want to be alone. We just need to wait until he goes hunting. He won't stay lying in a room forever. Anton realized that we wanted to run away. Or he simply realized that we wouldn't tolerate him. He went hunting, and we decided to seize the moment. We gathered the remaining food and took warm clothes. He'd been watching for... Okay, I had a feeling that was going to be the case. He'd been watching from afar, lying in wait for us. When we had already left the street where our house was, he met us. Seeing him, we ran in the opposite direction without hesitation. From fear, my legs felt like wood. Anton caught up with me almost immediately and threw me down into the snow. Lena ran off to a safe distance, but when she saw me collapse under Anton's feet, she stopped. He pulled out an axe and placed its heavy blade on my back. He told her that if she ran away, she would regret it. It would be better for her to not abandon me alone, he added at the end. I saw her face, how frightened she became. She, like me, wanted someone to come and save us. But the only man in whom we saw a protector, a provider, who took care of us and with whom we dreamed of being alone in the same room, was now holding an axe over my head. Tears flowed into the cold snow and melted it beneath my face. Lena began to beg Anton to forgive us, begged him to remove the axe from my head. Realizing that we would no longer dare to run anywhere, he approached Lena, hugged her, wiped her tears, and asked her not to do this again. After returning home, he locked me in my room with a key. He spent the next hour boarding up the window in the room where I became a prisoner, in my own room. When he finished, he brought Lena in. He was holding the axe in his hand. He threatened us that if either of us tried to run away again, the other would pay for it. I love you. I did everything only for you. Am I asking so much of you? You're just ungrateful pigs who only know how to take, he said. In his rage, he swung the axe and struck the table on which I was keeping my diary. He split it in half. The blade flew just a few centimeters from Lena's head. She recoiled towards me, searching for any kind of protection. But how could I, small and weak, help her? Out of fear, she hugged me, and my arms wrapped around her in return. He took Lena away and locked the door behind him. Their voices grew quieter and quieter. I cried the entire evening. I was still crying. I don't know what we're supposed to do. What will he do to us? I wish I could fall asleep, see a good dream, and never wake up. This was the last entry in the diary. The house is empty. But after reading these pages, it felt as if it had come alive. I also had the feeling that everyone who lived here had simply stepped outside, and would soon return to their rooms. I wish I could be among them. No matter how hard it is, no matter how much you want to shed tears from your helplessness, it is always easier to endure something if someone shares your troubles. Someone just like you. So, what happened next? What became of Lena and Mila? Are they alive? Where's Anton now? What did he do to them? Why is this house empty now? These questions tormented me. There was too much left unsaid. All I could do was continue on my way, take all the supplies, and return to Alice and her father. It's just us. That's us, but we heard footsteps. The answers did not take long to come. When I had almost finished packing all the supplies, I heard footsteps outside. The crunch of snow became a harbinger of what I had feared while reading the diary. The first thing that came to mind was to hide under the bed in one of the rooms. How many traces had I left behind? Soon I realized that if the people entering the house were the owners and wanted to eat, they would understand that they'd been robbed. I lay there hoping to hear at least the footsteps of 3 people. but apparently only one had entered. Hopefully it's Mila? Ooh, I don't think it's Mila. The footsteps were heavy, tired. After finishing whatever he needed to do in the living room, the one who entered went into one of the opposite rooms. He didn't come out for about half an hour. He probably laid down to rest or sleep. I decided to crawl out from under the bed. I know I should have just ran and taken advantage of the chance. But curiosity, fed by the questions I had after reading Mila's diary, made me go not towards the exit, but into that room. Are you crazy? I cracked the door open and looked through the gap. The one laying on the bed, wrapped in a blanket, was definitely a man, or a young man. I couldn't see his face. He was sleeping in his outer clothes, a warm down jacket. I would say kill him, but we don't know if he killed Lena and Mila. Maybe they escaped. And he didn't specifically kill Anya, he's just the cause of her death. He lay on his right side, facing the window. He was snoring softly. Must have been very tired. I stepped closer. I saw his face and made sure he was a young man. Handsome. Peaceful. Carefree. Light stubble and long hair. He didn't look like the one Mila had written about. We don't know how old that diary is. Might have been a couple years. Could this really be Anton? It could be a new person. I remembered everything he had done to the girls. Nothing remained of his charm. I wanted to jump at him. To smash his pretty face. My disgust and anger toward him were that strong. I even remembered that there was an axe laying by the entrance. Stepping closer, my gaze was drawn to a dresser, and on it I saw a pistol. Pistol? Without hesitation, I picked it up and aimed it at him, as if I were already about to shoot. I wasn't sure that I wanted to take his life. First, I needed answers. What had happened to the girls? For a moment, I became scared. But when my index finger found the trigger, I felt more confident. You have no idea if there's even bullets in there. He could be holding on to that as a bluff. I convinced myself that if it came to it, I would pull it. I had held a pistol before and even pulled the trigger. But it had been unloaded, because we didn't want to make loud noise and draw attention to our shelter. And we had few bullets anyway. I removed the magazine and saw 6 rounds. Okay, so she does know. I put it back in and aimed again at the one I believed to be Anton. At the one who had made those innocent people suffer. People who had already been unjustly thrown into our reality. I shoved him. I waited for his eyes to fully open. Once wasn't enough to wake him. He only made an annoyed grimace. After the second push, his eyelids finally lifted. The first thing he saw was me. The surprise at my presence helped him come to his senses faster. Then he saw the pistol aimed at him, after which he glanced at the dresser. He abruptly sat up, changing from lying to sitting. He kept his hands close to his knees. I kept my finger on the trigger and looked straight at him. I felt uneasy. It seemed that for a moment, I even forgot what I wanted from him. "Take whatever you want," he said. I stayed silent, sorting through which question to ask first. "Is your name Anton?" Uh-oh. He looked at me in surprise. Instead of answering, he seemed to start thinking about how that name had come to my mind. "How do you know my name?" It was him. He admitted it, without any hesitation. He hesitated. I remember how my fingers tightened at that moment. All of them, except the one that separated him from a quick and painless death. I don't know about quick. Unless you managed to get... Well, even if you did get the neck, that wouldn't be quick, necessarily. You need to be aimed a little bit higher. From his punishment. For what he had done to them. Where are Mila and Lena? What did you do to them? Anton understood everything. His eyelids lowered along with his face. Did you read Mila's diary? It was a rhetorical question. Instead of punishing him for what he had done, I asked the next question that tormented me. How could you? They were defenseless, and you were supposed to protect them. And what happened in the end? They needed protection from you. Where are they now? Listen, please. Put the gun down. Everything's not the way you read it. What's your name? Tell me what you did to them. Did you kill them? I didn't do anything to them. He was lying. He's just buying time. Then where are they? I asked. His face changed. My question made him remember something he didn't want to remember. One day, I just came back from hunting, and they were gone. The house was turned upside down. Obviously, someone found us, broke in by force and took everything they wanted. Our food, warm clothes, and they took the girls too. When I came back, I tried to find them, track them. But it snowed for 2 days straight back then. There were no traces left. I couldn't find them. His eyes looked at me pleadingly, hoping that I would believe what he was saying. Do you remember why we live like this today? He continued. What started all of this? A virus. Wait, who's talking? Is he answering the question, or are we answering the question? I'll go with he's answering the question. A virus. A disease that was never fully studied. Not everyone had immunity to it. Those who didn't die from it had to live with its consequences for the rest of their lives. Now, I'm not a doctor or a scientist. I don't know how it works. Mila was one of those who survived, like us, but the disease affected her differently. For some people, memory problems began. Some fall out of reality. Some develop hallucinations. Very few people know all the symptoms, or how exactly it affects the brain. Mila often slipped out of reality. She suffered from various visions. We were all worried about her because she didn't know what to expect. The only reason I might give any credence to this is what she said in her diary about how the others treated her. He comes in, they're all giving him attention, and then she's talking about if they notice her in the room. Could be that she got jealous of him and made up a story in her head? That he had replaced her, but then he was a bad person? The problem is, where is Dina then? And where is Anya? One morning, we woke up and couldn't find her in the house. She was wandering barefoot in the backyard, without any outer clothing. Her eyes were glassy, her face completely emotionless. While she was walking like that, she managed to cut her leg. Fortunately, we treated the wound in time, and nothing bad happened. But after that, we had to somehow prevent it from happening again. The best solution we came up with was that Lena asked Mila to keep a diary, where she would write down everything she saw. That was the only way we could at least try to understand what was going on in her head, and protect her from danger. It helped, but when Lena told us what was written in the entries, we were all confused. I couldn't understand why Mila saw me as a threat. Everything was fine between us. I did everything for them. For us. Okay, well that line's a questionable line. I mean, it could be a harmless line. Just him stating a fact. But it sounds like what Mila talked about. They were dear to me, just as I was to them. They were the only thing I had. There was no need to prove that. We took care of each other. He lowered his head, covered his face as if he were about to cry. Crocodile tears? You have no idea how much I miss them. How often I see them in my dreams. It's been almost half a year now, or something like that. I lost the meaning of life, but then I decided that I would find them no matter what. So why are you here? I didn't kill anyone. Never. Okay, it's him talking. But I'd kill without hesitation those who took them from me. My girls. I will find them. And if they're no longer alive, I'll kill those who touched them. My girls. Anton fell silent. Only when he finished speaking did I realize that I had lowered the gun. I believed him while he was telling me what had happened here. Then he raised his head and looked straight at me. Are you going to look out the window and see the grave? When I saw his eyes, I came to my senses and aimed the barrel at him again. Do you want to kill me? For something I didn't do? Without trial or investigation? I don't think it's her. Yes. That's exactly the kind of world we live in now. Oh, wait, no, it was her who said it. Yes. That's exactly the kind of world we live in. This was my answer to him. Everything you told me could easily be made up. Yes, I know about the virus. I've never heard about hallucination or visions, though. If I were in your place, I would have made up the same story. He wasn't afraid. His thoughts seemed to still be in his memories, the ones his own story had pulled him into. Yes, you're right. Both what I told you and what Mila wrote in her diary could have happened in reality. Nothing fantastical. What to believe out of all of this is up to you. Your decision to kill me won't change anything. It'll only prove once again what kind of lawless hell we live in. I loved them. I would have died for them. I lost them all at once and was left alone. I don't know if you have anyone you live with and continue living with in this hell, but I'm sure you've already learned what it's like to be completely alone. Just like me, lost everyone and trying to survive. And yet, something didn't let me take my finger off the trigger and stop keeping him in my sights. I had missed something in his story and in the diary. It felt like when the right words are on the tip of your tongue, but you can't grasp them in your mind. Digging through my own thoughts made me squint and look around, as if the answer were somewhere in this room. The window? The window. The grave. I don't remember what exactly made me look out the window, but that was where I finally found what I was looking for. He is a liar. He's just trying to save his own skin. Trying to make me feel sympathy for him. I asked her to call Pasha the way she usually did. I saw that she didn't even know where to press before starting to speak. More precisely, she didn't press anywhere at all. Wait, is this all in my head? And these weird choices are... I asked her to call Pasha the way she usually did. I saw that she didn't even know where to press before starting to speak. More precisely, she didn't press anywhere at all. Wait. Is this all back from Alice? So the last set of options, was that Alice talking for that one as well? About the, it said, do you even know how to work that thing? The answer was no. And then, how would it even work with the missing battery? The last three choices. Is this all Alice talking? I asked her to call Pasha the way she usually did. What's happening? Are we Mila? We s- hmm. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. This isn't a choice. They're connected. Oh, we shot him. And that's natural for someone in his position. The world really is unfair because it's inhabited by people like him, by those who make others suffer for their own comfort, their own needs, their own happiness. I almost believed his stories. I was ready to lower the gun, apologize, sympathize, and mourn those he had lost. He hadn't lost anyone. Perhaps the same fate would have awaited me as the other girls. Because of his lies, he deserved death even more. You're lying, I exposed him. You're just a freak. This time he truly was frightened. Are you so sure I'm lying to you, girl? Why? Whose grave is in the backyard? It was ridiculous. Or did he say that? I don't know. Then whose is it? I asked. Go on. Make something else up to save yourself. That's all you have left. He lowered his head again and covered his face with his sweaty palms, desperate after being exposed. Then he continued. Last winter, a lost woman found us, exhausted. She couldn't remember when she had last eaten. Her frozen blackened legs were killing her. I think it's called gangrene. I don't know. We didn't know what to do or how to help her. I remember feeling like laughing, but I didn't laugh. What a pathetic man he was, losing the last remnants of dignity. Enough. Tell me what you did to Lena and Mila. Are they alive? He still didn't give up. I told you everything. They were taken along with the others. I would never have touched them. His eyes filled with blood. Not with tears for the loss of two innocent lives, but with blood. You miserable creature, I said. I imagined other children or teenagers finding this house while searching for shelter and help. Innocent girls looking for protection. Anton takes them in. And what it all turns into afterward. Everyone becomes a predator when they feel unpunished. It felt as if I was pressing the trigger with all my strength, and my fingers simply wouldn't obey, or had separated from my hand entirely. My mind refused to imagine what would happen after the shot. What was happening felt unreal, as if someone else were in my place. For the first time in my life, as I pulled the trigger of a gun, I took someone's life, and I truly wanted to. Maybe you should dig up the grave. Because the grave, she's supposed to be buried in that blanket, right? If she's not buried in a blanket and actually has the messed up legs and is an older woman, I had power, and I used it. I believed I had used it correctly. What do you mean you believed? His body lay on the bed. That isn't how someone falls asleep, but how one drops dead. He wasn't breathing. I didn't want to step closer to see what was left of his head. What? Uncle? What do you mean, Uncle Koya? Huh? A small pool of blood was already gathering. A small pool of blood was already gathering on the blanket. He'll hurt no one else. He'll cause no more harm. He got what he deserved for what he did to the poor girls in this house. They thought they were looking for protection and a strong shoulder, but it turned out they had found their death. Their love and care made him feel that everything was allowed to him in this house, and he thought he would remain unpunished. He was wrong. I left the house. I wanted to believe that the girls knew Anton had paid for what he had done, and they would never hurt anyone again. I turned around one last time to look at this house. I said goodbye to it and to those who once lived there. Are you about to see something? I took my finger off the trigger. Anton, like a true coward, covered his face, unwilling to look death and retribution in the eyes. Why do you keep saying Uncle Koya? Taking advantage of the moment, I left the room. Then I hurried out of the house. Wait. You didn't shoot him? Why does it suddenly sound like you didn't shoot him? Yeah, okay. You didn't. I ran in tears from my own weakness. From the fact that I turned out to be incapable of avenging the poor girls. Did you just imagine for a moment that he had fallen like a dead body? I imagined them looking at me. How ashamed I am before you. Forgive me. I wanted to get back to Alice and Uncle Koya as quickly as possible. Halfway there, the radio crackled. I heard Pasha's voice. He was calling me, but I wasn't able to answer and tell him what had happened. I needed to sort it out myself and understand. The only comfort was that I would not return empty-handed. I had something to please Alice and her father with. The best shelter turned out to be a fallen fir tree. I made a fire. I asked myself whether Anton deserved to live on. How many more such stories are happening to those who continue to live and hope that someday life will become better than it is now? Is it possible to want to go on living if you suddenly learn that this nightmare will last forever? Early in the morning, I continued on my way. In less than half a day, I reached Alice's shelter. First of all, I went to the room where we had slept. She wasn't there. That meant she could only be in one place. But she wasn't there either. All that was left was to greet Uncle Koya, to ask where Alice was now. My footsteps were hard to hide, even if I tried. I expected that from the other side, at least someone would ask who was coming. But the silence was such that if no one had ever been... The silence was such as if no one had ever been behind the collapse. There was nothing left to do but call out to him. Again, that smell reminded me of an outdoor toilet. No one answered. Did he die and Alice walked away? I looked into the dark crack from which I had first greeted Alice's father. Uncle Koya! I shouted this time. No, he was still here. You could hear someone beginning to move slowly and approach the crack.
Who's there?
He asked. It's me, Sasha.
Ah, you're already back,
He responded cheerfully. After that phrase, a loud, hoarse, unpleasant cough followed. It became a major obstacle to him continuing to speak. It seemed that squeezing out even a single word required enormous effort from him. Are you feeling unwell? I asked a stupid question.
I haven't been getting any better,
He answered with difficulty. Each new word came harder than the previous one. And where's Alice?
Gone. Morning.
I finally remembered why I had left. I took the meat out of my backpack, slid it into the crack. Here.
Oh, what is this? Can this really be eaten?
Yes, it's dried meat. I felt him take a piece from my hand.
You're such a good girl, Sasha. How lucky Alice is.
You probably haven't eaten anything for a long time, I said, and slid another piece in.
No, that's enough for me. Keep it for yourself and for Alice.
But you need to eat to recover. After that, a long and loud silence followed. Then he replied.
Sasha, I'm not going to get better. Since the moment I ended up here, I've only been getting worse.
Nothing else should have been expected.
Sasha, you have to help me. I want to ask you.
Is it about Alice?
This will be a great favor to me and to my...
The coughing didn't let him finish. This time the spasms were so loud, as if his throat would tear apart together with his lungs. I got scared. I thought he wouldn't be able to speak anymore. With what incredible effort he tried to continue.
You're wasting water and food on me. Alice will keep doing that until I'm gone. Or until something worse than her leg injury happens to her. This can't go on. I'm killing her, without meaning to at all. She can't accept what happened. You can. You see everything perfectly well. You're harming yourselves while I'm alive. You want... I've wanted this for a long time. What's scarier is not that I'll die in this dungeon, surrounded by my own filth, but that if something happens to Alice, I might still be alive and outlive her. This cough and the inflammation will finish me off soon. And this is only our first winter.
Why the gun?
I'm being torn apart from the inside. Even if we had medicine, I wouldn't allow you to waste it on me. It's pointless and hopeless. I am asking you.
Did we imagine that? Did we give him the gun? I want to end this. And most importantly, to free Alice. Wait, I think he said that.
I want to end this. And most importantly, to free Alice.
Then silence followed again. I couldn't answer anything. There was nothing wrong or illogical in what he was saying.
Just,
he continued,
give me something sharp. Alice understood everything perfectly well, and didn't give me anything I could hurt myself with. I'll do everything myself, while I still can.
I imagined how life was slowly leaving him. How warm blood, the only thing keeping him from turning into a stiff corpse, flowed down his hand. I wondered what he would feel. After all, he would feel something. Would it hurt? Or would it be colder than it is now? I have a gun. Is Alice talking? Or is he talking? I don't know who to assume is talking. I mean, she's there. I don't know if the dialogue and the images have been... I think that was also said in the reviews. I think the images and dialogue got disconnected.
Where did you get it? Is it loaded?
I found it. Yes, it's loaded.
Have you used it? Did someone attack you?
No, everything's fine. I'm unharmed. And again, that cough. It won't stop. It'll only get worse. He probably can't even fall asleep peacefully. Or see good dreams. So that for at least a moment, he could escape his cold dungeon. I'll give you the gun.
No. You will still need it with Alice. If I take it and pull the trigger, you won't be able to take it back.
Uncle Koya's face appeared in the crack. His appearance was so horrifying. Don't ask her to shoot you. The eye looking out was so red that it seemed as if instead of tears, only blood could flow from it. And he himself was sobbing without stopping.
I want to ask you to help me. Bring the muzzle straight to my forehead. Pull the trigger. I will be grateful to you. And one day, Alice will be too. She will understand. Not right away, but she will understand that it had to be this way. I want to get out of this dark, stinking place. I have no strength left to stay here. Free me. Please, don't cry, Sasha. Take care of my Alice. You are doing nothing wrong. On the contrary, you are more merciful to me than my daughter.
See, this seems like this all should have came before the gunshot sound, and her crying with the gun.
Don't cry. You are good, my savior. Yes, like that. You can turn away. It's better to turn away. And now, just pull the trigger. Thank you, Sasha. Pull it. Pull it. Don't be afraid. Pull it. Pull it, please. Pull.
I feel like that's when we were supposed to hear the gunshot. The echo spread throughout the entire building. I felt that I wasn't breathing. I took a deep breath. Air filled my lungs. Then I exhaled. I hope Uncle Koya felt the same relief. It became quiet. Only the wind could be heard, whistling and breaking through every crack. So that means Alice is going to show up then. Yeah, these pictures and the dialogue has become disconnected. So she's going to show up behind us and stand there. Suddenly, I realized that now I was alone in this building. Alice's father was no longer here. I don't remember how much longer I stayed there. I didn't know what I would tell her. I wanted to delay this moment, or for it to never come. I imagined how she would scream, say that she hated me, how tears would not stop rolling down her cheeks. And then, soon footsteps were heard. My heart stopped. Either my ears stopped hearing, or the wind truly died down so abruptly and no longer whistled in this tomb when Alice entered. I hid the gun. I even had thoughts of lying, of not telling her the truth. A lie about how I found Uncle Koya in that state could have sounded convincing. Oh, you're already back? Finally! Or no, it was her. Oh, you're already back? Finally! There was so much joy in her voice. For a moment, I regretted what I had done. Because right now, Alice might have hugged me like a caring sister. I would have taken out the food I managed to find. Enough for us for several more days. We would have sat by the fire, and I would have told her about that house. Its story. About the girls. About Anton, who turned their lives into an ever greater hell. She would have hugged me again to comfort me. To make it easier on my soul. And it really would have been easier. If only someone had told me that I did the right thing and hugged me. I drifted into my thoughts. From memory to my ears came that sound again. That tearing from the inside cough, and spasms that turned Uncle Koya into a suffocating fish on dry land. It brought me back to the present. I remembered why I did this. So, did you find anything? She asked carelessly. Meat. Dried. You're kidding. Where did you get it? It's a long story. Well, okay. There'll be time. She smiled kindly. Dad, did you hear? When was the last time we ate meat together? Dad, do you hear? Sasha, is that blood? Dad? Dad? She saw her father's head pierced by a bullet. For about a full minute, she could not accept what had happened. Her eyes filled with tears so much that it probably prevented her from seeing everything that was happening in front of her. Alice touched her father's bloodied head, naively hoping that he would respond. Dad. Daddy. My dear. I don't want to be alone, Dad. At that moment, it was already hard to understand which sound was worse. The slowly suffocating father, or the daughter mourning him. What? What happened? You saw him like this? He was already... when you came here. Sasha, answer! Did you see who did this? Why are you silent? It was me. I did it. After those words, she fell silent, froze, instantly calmed down. I don't know what thoughts appeared in her head. The silence didn't last long. I told her everything about what happened. When Uncle Koya said, I added at the end that it was unbearable to watch his suffering. I looked at her, waiting for a reaction. She was still on her knees, staring into the crack from which her father's blood was dripping. She was no longer crying. Her back remained motionless. Yes, she wouldn't be able to forgive me so quickly. You know, I actually grew up without a dad, she finally spoke. I only had a mother, and I didn't know my father from birth. She said he left her when she was almost 9 months pregnant. Oh wait, no. She said he left her when she was almost 9 months pregnant. I only saw him in a photograph. My mother didn't really want to remember him. And I was always curious what it was like to have a dad. To have a man nearby who takes care of you, protects you, lives for you. And everything he does is so that you're well and don't know misfortune. And can you imagine? It turned out that he didn't even know about my existence. And when he found out, he dropped everything to find me. And then this happened. My mother died from that very disease. I was left alone. I wandered with whoever I could, with those who felt sorry for a little girl. And despite all this hell, all this chaos, he still found me. Our group met a wanderer who said he was looking for his daughter, that her name was Alice, my age. When I heard that, of course I thought it was just a coincidence. But when his gaze stopped on me, and he started looking closely at me, I understood everything. I don't remember which of us rushed into the other's arms first. I only remember that we were both crying without stopping. And from that day on, I learned what it means to have a father. And I didn't want any other life anymore. She paused. I didn't know whether she would continue. You didn't take the gun and shoot yourself, did you? Because there was a second gunshot. It seems to me that if she had told me this earlier, I might not have had the courage to take her father's life. And yet, I kept telling myself that I did the right thing. I did what Alice couldn't decide to do, but had to. I don't know why or for whom to live. I have no one left. What is the point of living in a dead world? Probably only if you have some kind of goal. I heard her take something out of her pocket. I thought she wanted to show me something. But instead, I heard a scream. Like a roar, the knife. Something flashed before my eyes. Then it rushed straight into my chest. Before I realized it, I grabbed it with both hands, as if it were a brush meant to smear me. But it was her knife. Only when a searing pain shot through my fingers did I realize I was holding the blade that Alice was aiming straight at my heart. "Alice!" I shouted. In response, she threw herself at me with all her strength. With her whole body. Okay, you're jumping ahead. So, defending ourselves, we shoot her, and then we left, and now we're walking back through the forest. The background's kind of jumping ahead. I managed to hold the knife with my bloody hands, but my knees buckled under such force and gave way. Together, we fell to the ground. Seizing the moment, I tried to get up before her. I managed only because Alice was limping. I just needed to calm her down. but I didn't know if there were any words in this world that could bring her to her senses. It seemed there weren't. We're about to hear another bullet soon. Stepping back to a safe distance, I managed to pull out the gun and aim it at her. "Alice, forgive me, but it had to be done," I shouted. "He wanted it himself." "Who are you to decide who should die? I'm his daughter. It was me who had the right to decide. Me! Only murderers decide like that, who gets to live and who doesn't. You're just a murderer. And because of you, others suffer now." Oh, the radio. Pasha's calling. But the dialogue's still back in the past. She stood up. She looked so fearless and desperate, as if I didn't have a gun at all. "You're just a creature," she continued. "Like everyone else who's still alive. Like those who abandon us." She lunged at me, as if she had never been limping. As if something had given her strength and healed all her ailments. It felt like it wasn't a girl trying to kill me anymore, but a hungry, bloodthirsty beast. And like any beast, she could only be stopped. She could only be stopped in one way. "Sasha?" Pasha was calling me. "Answer me. Are you okay?" I was sitting by the fire. She should have been near her father. And that's why I didn't bury her. The scariest thing was to be alone. And here I am, alone. Did those few short days with Alice and Uncle Koya really happen? Or were they just a dream? "Over. Sasha, answer. Over." Maybe I needed to hear him. But answering his call, I don't even know. Is it out of sync? Because now it feels like we're back in the present, with the image. Or is it just that they only drew so much art, and then they didn't place the length of some of the art correctly? Or the timing of some of it. There was too much to tell, and to live through all over again. I myself hadn't fully realized what had happened. Why does life keep taking away from me every reason and excuse to love it? Or at least to simply accept everything as it is? Life hates me. For what? How do you accept the thought that it's not for something, but just like that? That it just happened? I hate life. I didn't want any of this. I wasn't even aiming. Maybe the shot would have simply brought her back to her senses. Although I still knew that a simple bang wouldn't stop her. It wasn't me guiding my hand anymore, but my instinct for self-preservation. I imagined myself lying dead with a knife in my chest. How insane this world is. In less than a day, I took the life of a father, then his daughter. Was the world always like this? My world will never be the same again. For the rest of my life, I will see dying Uncle Koya before my eyes, his face in that crack. And Alice, spending all her strength trying to drive a knife into my heart. If there had been a chance, if before my birth I had known what life had prepared for me, I would have wanted not to be born. Then I thought about how painless a shot to the head is. Would I have time to go deaf? After pulling the trigger, I shouldn't feel anything anymore. I hope that's true. Didn't we see earlier the gun to her head? But then Pasha called. So maybe the scenes are disconnected and he's going to call again. Yeah, now she's putting it to her head. putting the muzzle to my temple wasn't scary at all. Everything inside of me was drying up. I felt how cold I was, how my cheeks burned from dried tears. I was thirsty. Because you're dehydrated. I can end everything. I don't think I would feel relief, but feeling nothing at all suited me just fine. I just need to pull the trigger once. Come on. Do it. Just pull it. Like pressing a button that transfers you to a place where there's no memory, no feelings, no consciousness. That's exactly what I need right now. Pull it. Is that Pasha? Sasha! Stop! Don't! I heard someone's voice. I remembered first looking around, as if someone were watching me. There was no one. The radio crackled again. Apparently, the sound really was coming from there. It was Pasha. Was there an image earlier of the radio? Back when the scenes of being... No, it went from, like, her holding our jacket to the forest, didn't it? And then it went to us holding a gun to our head. There was no in-between scene of us looking at the radio. So it wasn't... Okay, so the scenes are disconnected then. So the moment when we were talking to him and we had a scene of the radio was just coincidence. But it sounds like this is all in our head. Are we Mila? Well, wouldn't you have called us Mila, though? He didn't address us as Mila. I don't know what's real and what's not. Wait. Can he see me? Bunker. I looked around again. Still no one. I finally grabbed the radio and started calling him. Pasha, is that you? What did you say? Repeat. In response, the radio only kept crackling, and soon it went completely silent, and stopped working altogether. I'm sorry, what's happening? This is the bunker. Oh, did we get found? Oh, okay. So when we say we looked around, we're looking around at the campfire. But why did we see the bunker? I don't know, I guess we'll get to it. It still seems to me that I'll never hear him again. Pasha, can you see me? Answer. How do you know... Are you here? Answer. It seems that day I didn't let go of the radio all night, waiting for Pasha to get in touch. That's probably how I fell asleep. Waiting. I slept in the same room where Alice and I had stayed. Is she Mila? Is she just making everything up? It seems like he can't remember anything and when he goes to sleep. When he wakes up, he blanks out the previous day. Like he's lost the ability to remember any new memories. So after August 25th, 2033, or 32, he could not remember anything after that. That's how he was affected. He lost the ability to make new memories. Leah lost the ability to speak. Lost language. So, Sasha, is she affected too then? I slept in the same room where Alice and I had stayed. The next day, I felt something heavy pressing on my chest. I still saw Alice and her father before my eyes. I spent most of the day in bed, until it became completely cold. I wanted to warm up. I didn't know what to do next. After long thoughts by the fire, I decided that I could leave my life at any moment. I could live a little longer, at least out of curiosity. And also, I was terribly curious what Pasha actually looks like. I can only find that out if I manage to find him. I remember gathering all the things I could carry, and if I had left a minute earlier or later, I most likely wouldn't have met you. Okay, so this should be when we when we saw the image of the book, the diary. December 3rd, 2035. In the spring, a full year had passed since we began the search. It didn't go without incidents. Little of it was pleasant. Fortunately, we had been prepared for almost anything. We're alive and healthy, as much as that's possible. I remember how I completely lost hope and eventually abandoned this idea of searching. It was an unnecessary risk. All my time and effort should have been devoted simply to caring for Leah and raising her. If she managed to find me, then other children would be able to as well. That was what I wanted to believe. We no longer left the bunker. Oh, so they would keep going back, right? Obviously, because they would leave on a trip, try to search out to a certain distance, and then supplies would probably run low and they'd have to go back for more supplies and try a different direction maybe. So he's saying that at some point, they gave up and just stayed. One day, we came across a boy frozen in the snow. An ordinary cold and hungry death for our times. His petrified and peaceful face, which I don't remember clearly but wrote about in my diary, still appears before me. It was precisely that face that gave me no peace when we began to live calmly and quietly in the bunker again. If we had met him a little earlier, he'd be alive now. With us. Safe. Warm. Fed. Unexpectedly for myself, I felt responsibility for those we would meet at their end in such a way. Dying alone. Unneeded by anyone. And all because I decided to stay in the bunker and protect myself and Leah. Her opinion mattered to me. She said she would accept any decision I made. But if this continued to trouble me, perhaps we really should go out again. And if we managed to save even one person, then maybe I would finally calm down. God, she was wiser than I am. In her short life, she's seen much and made many difficult decisions, while I lived a comfortable and calm life underground. After an entire summer passed, I realized that I was still thinking about them. Not everyone was as lucky as Leah and I. In autumn, when I went outside, I was met by a cold, damp wind. Rain, then snow. The thought that Leah could be spending her time, her days and nights, without the chance to warm herself or eat something, made it hard for me to swallow food and drink hot tea. We set out again. December 15th, 2035. Her name is Sasha. She's almost the same age as Leah. We encountered her near a half-ruined residential complex. She had food with her, a lighter, a radio, and even a weapon she had already used more than once. She likely would not have trusted me if not for Leah. An adult man trusted by a teenage girl looks less threatening to another teenager. We offered her to come with us. That same day, we headed to the bunker. It was not easy for her to see an adult man and a girl old enough to be his daughter. After her story about herself, I understood why. Poor girl. When she finished telling her story, she burst into tears in Leia's arms. Yes, she too had been forced to make many difficult decisions, and she reproached herself for not knowing whether she had acted correctly. The only thing I could comfort her with were the words that no one knows anything. Leah looked at me questioningly. Leah, I don't see it. It's over? Now, is it ending because the scenes ended and the dialogue got cut off, or does it... I'm so confused. I'm not sure if the dialogue's supposed to end there or not. Maybe? I don't know, but nonetheless, I still enjoy that. Sad. Very sad. what would happen if a world like that came to be. Because definitely, there'd be a lot of selfish people who would only live for themselves and hurt others. And the few that would try to still remain kind. Oh yeah, it's based on a short story, apparently. An actual short story. That's what the Steam page said. I don't know what happened there in Chapter 2 towards the end, but still, yeah, that was interesting. And I'm glad that, despite having suffered all that, that at least, what was his name? That the first character and Leah had found her. So hopefully she'll be okay, but it seems like everyone has a different affliction. So I'm still curious if Sasha had an affliction or not. Maybe Pasha was the affliction? Maybe she did have that imagination? I don't know. I guess it's one of those stories to think about what was real and what wasn't. I just know the main character, well, the first character, the guy, and Leah were apparently real. Interesting. I need a thumbnail. The only thing I have is this, though. If I start and use control, can I use control? I can. Actually, wait, can I go back? Wait, back. Oh, I can go back. Oh. Can I... Options. Is there a way to move the text? I don't think there is. I could go with this. Or I could show the bunker. Go back. I could show the bunker. Yeah, I'll just show the... I was thinking I wanted to show a person. Because I could even try to go all the way to the end where there's the three of them. That would be a nice one, but let's go with the bunker, I guess. I'll go with this. I enjoyed the art, for sure. The art was really cool. The sound effects that they put in there was good. The music was good. The only issue is that sometimes it would finish and then there was silence for a lot of it. You would want to loop that better. So that's something the developer should think about next time. Unsure about that disconnection between the images and the dialogue. The names definitely got messed up, for sure. So that's something to be careful about. Because this game came out already a while ago. Let me look. Because it seems like that's probably not going to get fixed. This game came out... Oh no, this is a new game. This is May 1st, 2026. Am I thinking of a different game? I might be thinking of a different game where I read that it came out a while ago and it's not going to get fixed. Okay, this is a different game. I think there was another visual novel that has a similar issue. Chapter 2... I felt some of the on-screen pictures were not matching up well with what I was reading. Yeah, same. So I don't know what happened there, but... It's actually May 1st, 2026. So, yeah, they could still fix that. I hope they do fix that then. The names were definitely off. And like, Pasha kept calling us Pasha. Probably because our name was Sasha. But we never introduced... Well, maybe we did. The part where it said, Pasha, what's your name? Maybe that was supposed to say Sasha. Because it wasn't until we talked to, Hello, Obsidian, welcome in. It wasn't until we talked to Alice that we saw the name Sasha, and then it was properly putting the name Sasha, so I don't know. Oh, I can also go up and down with the mouse. Welcome in, Obsidian, but we are ending, and I was just trying to talk about the game a bit. But yeah, I enjoyed the art. I enjoyed the story, sad as it was. And I hope to see more from this developer. In fact, does this developer have more? They're called Synthetic Domain. Is this their only game so far, or is there others? No, there's other games. Unless, well, it's the developer and the publisher. So these other games might just be... Wait. Did I not click on... Well, you didn't take me to the developer. Oh, you did. There are other games, but it looks like they might also be a publisher. I don't know. Whatever the deal is, I look forward to seeing any other games that they make, because this was pretty cool. Alright, so I guess that's it for today. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me, for those who were in chat and those who were just lurking. And thank you Crafty Akai again for the raid, I appreciate it very much. I hope you all have a good morning, day, or night, whatever time it is for you guys. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye everyone. Let me bring up the raid messages. Raid 1. Raid 2. Oh, actually... Wait, is Annie still on? I totally forgot. I wanted to raid her for her anniversary. Is she still going? Oh, she is. Wait. She is still going. Wait. What message was it? Raid... 7? 7. There we go. Raid 7 and 8. Those messages. Because it is her Twitch anniversary. Or at least the last day of it. It says 5 out of 5, so she's been celebrating for the last 5 days. Well, let's go say happy anniversary to her. Raid.
Walls may close, the night may fall, but his spirit stands tall. Lines he draws are doors that lead to worlds where dreams are free. With a pen he built his dreams, turning silence into streams. In his mind he's never alone, crafting realms he calls his own. Paper whispers, secrets told, journeys inked in black and bold. Mountains climb or rivers bend, in the world that he can mend. He may be confined and still, yet his heart is wild with thrill. Through each line a sky so wide, in his world he takes a ride. Every size painted bright, stars that gleam